Yes, I am. All right, go ahead and... Why in the hell did she not fill that up? What the hell is wrong with her?
No.
All right.
This is plenty, or else I will have to pee again. Oh my God, does it have to be that close?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
You're very quiet.
Oh, it's true. My boss was just telling me that.
Like quiet in demeanor or quiet in voice?
Both.
Okay.
He's like, I have a feeling you're just quiet all the time. No.
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 See, I am so loud I can get all the way the fuck back here.
Yeah.
Yay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode, 18 of Conservatives? Holy shit.
Yeah, you're rolling.
Are we having fun yet? I think we're having fun. I'm pretty sure we are. I'm not sure. Are you?
Not yet.
No, not now. First things first, being in my presence in general is a fucking treat, so let's calm down.
Completely.
But...
I am enjoying your podcast. There have been two that I didn't really love.
Now, really love, or they made you mad? They were boring, or they made you mad?
No, one was irritating.
Okay.
And that's the only one I didn't finish. And then, one I was just like, no. I just disagreed with so much. That was sad.
Okay. Wait, one was irritating. So it wasn't, what irritated you about that one?
Well, see, I don't want to.
I know.
We can bad about other people.
Maybe you can say opinion.
Now I'm here doing it, and I don't want to hear other people say.
Every single guest after you, I'm gonna make them talk shit about yours. Abso-fucking-lutely.
That's why I love you.
All right.
Okay.
Now, was it content or was it voice?
No, it wasn't voice. I haven't had any voice issues.
Okay.
But it was just the droning on and on and on about himself. Like, I don't. What? Shut up. I don't know. There wasn't a conversation. You're so great at conversations. You have these really interesting conversations. And this guy was just like on and on and on.
That's the one I warned you about beforehand, right?
I don't know.
I think I had texted you, hey, be careful about this episode because...
No, you had texted me about the scissors one, I think.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, that one was... I mean, it was a fantastic episode, but that story still haunts me. Whoa.
Our guest today is...
Somebody. I don't...
Okay. Do you want to just maybe go by that?
Somebody. I'm pretty nameless.
Yeah. Now... You like sucking dick.
I love sucking dick. Love it.
I was like, that would be a great opening line.
It would be.
It would be a great opening line.
You nailed it.
Now, what about... Because this is... I want to pick this apart a little bit. Because is it just the sensation of sucking a dick, or is it the mental...
Well,
is it both?
Not all dicks are created equal, so some are more fun. Some are more challenging, which is more fun for me.
Okay. Now, what about the challenge is fun?
Because, how much do I want to say on this? Okay, nobody knows my name.
Nobody knows your name.
So, I like to be the kind of girl that will do all those things that nobody else would do for you.
Ooh, okay.
And there's something about, like, I can take more of your cock than somebody else can.
Okay.
Or I can,
Is it, so it's like almost a pride thing?
It's totally a pride thing. Oh,
okay.
Do I take? Yes.
Okay.
I know what it looks like on the other side, right? I don't like receiving oral sex, but the guys who just absolutely love it, like that's their thing, and they're way better at it.
Meaning
they're
better at eating your pussy than, okay.
So I think the fact that I love it and I'm all in and I will do it as long as I can, like forever. If you let me.
Right.
Like that. I keep saying like. Somebody shoot me now.
I'm way ahead of you. Actually, that's the only reason why I brought you here was to put a bullet in your temple.
Thank you. So part of it's just I don't know. I don't know.
So it's no. You're doing fine. So it's part of it is the part of it is the.
I feel like I'm sucking a dick right now. This microphone is
surprise.
Close to my face.
Every female when they're in this room with me. No. But so you're saying in that angle, part of it is the challenge of that person's themselves. Now, have you ever? This is an obvious question, obvious answer. You've sucked a penis that you haven't liked the person.
Of course.
Okay. So now here's what I mean by why I'm asking that is I'm wondering, okay, so then it's not necessarily all about I love this person or I want this person to be happy. Part of that, did you enjoy sucking the cock that wasn't attached, even though you didn't like that dude?
Yeah, I mean, I've been married, so I've sucked a lot of cock that I wasn't into the dude, right? I mean, at one point there was love, but
oh Jesus.
So yeah, I mean, sometimes it's totally self-centered. I want all of your approval.
Okay.
All of it.
Okay.
So sometimes it's just, give me everything you got. Look how good I am.
Right.
And then sometimes it's like, oh, I just want to make you feel so good.
Okay.
And sometimes it's just like, that is the most beautiful cock I've ever seen, and I need to have it in my mouth.
Right.
Thank you. Right. I mean,
right.
Sure. There's all kinds of things to love about sucking.
So that even includes getting your mouth fucked specifically, like.
Yeah, hit the back of my throat. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is a great episode. No, I want every experience on here. You know what I mean? This is a very different episode as an example from Bruce. Bruce was a very different episode than this.
Absolutely.
We didn't cuss once. It was,
no, he was
but
lovely.
He's a great guy. Yeah. And this is just as important as Bruce's episode.
I will say that. So Peter
from Carlsbad. Mm-hmm.
I loved him, and Will. Oh, I mean, you two together are just fantastic.
Right.
Those were, I think, my favorites.
Interesting. Good. Yeah, actually, Will's, like, I have to change each one when I'm going to, like, share it with somebody, like, as what's a good starting point. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm talking about having Daddy Ray on here, who's a phenomenal guy. He's a big kind of event planner in the gay community, and
and Pollo, I loved Pollo.
Yeah, Pollo was fun too.
So good.
But and so I'm thinking, like, okay, and has a huge story and a big fucking heart, and love this guy to death. How, maybe I shouldn't share the Proud Boys episode with him to start it out. Maybe we start him out with, like, Robbie or Pollo. But yeah, that's interesting.
But even, I mean, the content of the Proud Boys episode was so, like, okay. It just wasn't that controversial. But,
interesting.
Yeah, it just didn't, there wasn't anything that really I found aggravating. It was more aggravating, like, oh, the female Trump supporter. Well, like, just seeing that on there, I was like, oh.
Okay, so seeing that on there, but listening to the episode, how bad was it?
It was a little rough.
It was a little rough. Okay. Yeah. I was also without sleep. I was very, very tired. I hadn't slept since like noon the day before, and it was 7 a.m. when we started recording. I sacrifice a lot for you cocksuckers. God damn it.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I should really do that Patreon thing.
Whatever.
I don't
know. Yeah. Okay. So back to sucking dick. So is it part of it? Is it the sensation as well? Is it like the
sensation? Well, I can't have an orgasm with my mouth.
Right.
But it gets me so wet. I mean, like, but I think that's all just emotional, mental,
Right.
Right.
Okay. Have you, I'm sure you've had conversations with females who don't necessarily have that experience.
Yeah. I know lots of women who, they give the birthday blowjob, like, there you go. Or they'll start for like a minute and just to get you there. Right. And then, yeah.
Yeah, that's not
really a blowjob. That's like a...
As Patrice would put it, there's a difference between a pussy eater and someone who eats pussy. Like, there's a difference between someone who sucks a dick and a dick sucker.
Yes, I am a dick sucker.
Yay! Mm-hmm. Good girl.
My mom's going to be so proud.
She can't hear
She is such a perv. My mom is, both my parents are totally pervs, so...
Really?
Yeah, well, that's not surprising, is it?
No, it's not. So, were you, let's see, when was the first time you realized, I really enjoy this? Teens, I guess?
I didn't... Oh, I'll tell you, I know exactly when. So, it was... this guy that I think for 3 or 4 years, we were just friends with benefits. That was one thing I totally disagreed with on the last show. Women can absolutely have sex and not get emotionally attached.
Ah, okay.
Absolutely. Anyways, so the first time I was, and this guy was really long, not terribly like thick.
Okay.
Thick.
Like,
Girth is
was it
the
like-
real problem. Length isn't as much of a problem.
Okay, so meaning, so it wasn't necessarily a pencil dick.
No, he's not a pencil dick,
Okay.
but he's not super girthy, but long, and he's used to girls not being able to take the whole thing.
Okay.
And I didn't have any issue with it. And he was like, "Oh my God, you're such a good girl."
Right,
Ugh.
right,
And like
right.
that was my first experience with somebody saying I was a good girl, and I was like, "This is the best thing ever in my life. I want to do this for my whole life right now. Can I just dedicate my life to giving blowjobs?"
Right.
So that was the first time that I really fell in love with it, and
Okay.
but I hadn't done. I mean, I was maybe 17. I mean, you know.
You'd been with dudes before a time.
Yeah, well, I had been with 2 men before that.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I was with my daughter's father for 5 years.
Okay. So, okay. Now, when it comes to girth, you said that's the problem. Which do you prefer?
Girth. Every time. Yes, girth.
Now, just for dick in general, or
Yes.
for? I just mean when it's gonna have sex in your pussy. Why am I talking about like when it's gonna fuck your pussy, not necessarily your mouth?
Oh, if it's going to fuck my ass, I would rather it not be girthy.
Right.
But
Right.
pussy, absolutely girth all the way.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if it's beyond 5 or 6 inches, because there's only 5 or 6 inches between the opening of the vagina and the cervix.
Right.
Anything beyond that's painful.
Okay.
So length.
Painful good or painful?
Well, I like painful,
Okay.
but
But it's not necessary. That's what you're saying.
No,
Okay. All right.
no. So length is something that guys really care about.
Okay.
Guys really, they really want to measure themselves against other men and how long they are or something like that.
Yeah, it's not often within the guy community we go, oh, I'm really thick, or
Yeah,
like
I'm like a beer can. Like, nobody
or that guy's such a thin. You know what I mean? Like we don't really.
Yeah, no.
Right. Okay. Now, I like piecing apart this dick conversation. So, okay, so you realized pretty early on that you liked that. But what you just said was, I liked that, like you didn't necessarily say you enjoyed the dick suckery of it all in that sentence. Was it specifically the dick suckery, or was it like him calling you a good girl?
It was him calling me a good girl, and I realized, hey, I'm all right at this. And then it was later another guy who actually took the time to give me some pointers.
Ooh.
And I love direction.
Yes, you do.
Oh,
Right.
please give me direction. Tell me what to do. And
Right.
he was so good at that. I mean, step by step, and I was like, oh my gosh, I could do this. I can follow direction.
Right.
And between those 2 experiences of hey, I don't have much of a gag reflex, and that's really a benefit in this. I used to just think that was fun to gross my mother and my sister out, because literally as a little girl, I could slide my fingers down my throat and not gag at the kitchen table, and my sister and mother would be gagging just watching me, because they got gag on their toothbrushes, right? Just brushing their teeth, they gag. And I was like, hey, this is fun.
There's like a pride in it.
But I didn't know
Right.
that it could be useful.
Right.
So when it was useful, I was like, hey. And then when I got some real direction, I was like, hey. And then the good girl thing, hello.
Right.
I just don't.
Right.
Yep. That's all I need in this world.
So now, why? You do understand that you could, quote unquote, dedicate your life. Like you do understand that that's a thing. Yes. I know that there are some laws in California which would frown upon you dedicating your life to that. But I'm saying you could. Like that's not like while I'm working at while I'm working at a startup or something, like, oh, I wish I was daydreaming about prostitution. Like you can get that done any fucking day.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I'd be a pretty good pimp, actually.
You would be.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I could, you know, but also there's other ways. So like Nevada, you know, Nevada is legal. You know, you could go do the bunny ranch or something like that. You know?
Okay. I just think nobody. Despite the fact that men seem to want to sleep with me, I kind of feel like nobody would pay me for that. Like, why would you pay me for that? I'm not like
okay, all right. Let's pick that apart a little bit. So I'm not making this a therapy session, but I'm saying you do okay. You know from your personal experience that there have been men who obviously lots of men come at you with game or non-game, right. But there are desperate ones enough who you could for sure. Right? I mean, you've had guys, you know...
I have had guys offer to pay me.
Okay.
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
But were they gross?
Usually they're married.
Okay.
Which makes me a little sad. But they're guys that I worked with.
Okay.
Yeah. Like bosses, you know, totally inappropriate.
Nice. Oh my God, I want to hear a little bit more about that.
Well, it was the restaurant business.
Okay.
And you know how that goes. It's just nasty.
Yeah, it's filthy, for sure. But okay, so you actually had a guy pull you. Was he flirting with you beforehand?
Oh, constantly. And I'm flirtatious. So.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, all the signals for him was that I would absolutely be willing to do that. So.
Okay. Okay, so you didn't feel Me Too'd in that moment. You felt like.
No.
Okay. Now, what about that was a no?
He was married.
That was kind of it. Was he attractive?
No, but he was fun.
Okay.
I like fun.
Okay. Fun. In what way was he fun?
Fun. He was just funny and flirtatious, and you could tell he'd be a good time in bed, right?
Interesting.
It might not last very long. One of those guys married, you know,
But no, I see. Okay, I have to pause you there. See, I think from my experience, I would say that even if I come quick, like if it's with a girl, like I fucking really want to relish this as i.e. a side girl, I'm gonna get going again pretty quick. You know what I mean? Because I want to okay, this is probably going to be the only hour I'm with this person. I'm going to enjoy the shit out of it as much as I can. So, you know, even if he came quick, you know.
See,
this is true. This is true, yeah.
It is not true for all men, and one day you will lose that as well.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Have you had good experience with dudes taking Cialis or Viagra? That you know of, anyway.
So, I've had limited experience with that.
Does it taste like Splenda?
I literally, because I do like older men. So, what did he was like, I can only come once, and that's it. Like, I can get it up, I can last for a while, but I can only come once. Okay, that's fine. Well, you know.
Okay.
How many times do I need you to come? I don't know.
Right.
And then there was somebody else who was using it who didn't need it, was just using it to keep going or maintain or just I don't know.
Extra punishment. Extra punishment.
Exactly.
I like that.
It was rough.
In a good way or a bad way?
Yeah, he was fun.
Oh, okay.
We had a good time.
That's good. So, what do you like cum?
I love cum play. Like, cum all over me. Let me rub it in. Let me lick it up. I'm all about it. I don't know.
Now, what part of it though? So here's okay. So is it the person itself? Is it the here? Put the big black dick a little closer to your face.
I've never slept with a black man before.
You've never slept with
Oh,
come on.
A black woman.
Okay, we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's finish the cum conversation. And then come on now. Okay, so you is that cum stuff? Is the cum stuff more specifically that? I mean, that's got to be like this depends on the dude, right?
No.
Really?
It just feels dirty. I like dirty.
Okay.
And it's. I mean, I love guys who really like edging. I am not the girl for you because I want to make you come and make you come again, and like that feels like such a reward to me. Like, this is a job well done.
Okay.
Look at it.
So your orgasm would I dare to say your orgasm is less important than theirs?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you feel like that is tied up in a self-esteem issue? I mean, obviously, where the rubber meets the road, it doesn't fucking matter because do yourself, do you? But is it like? I mean, obviously, that's not every female's experience, so you know.
Oh, I think it's just a personality thing. I think I really, really like to take care of people. I like to serve people. I like to, I am not. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
So the real issue is that I want a lot of sex. So I don't want to go. I will get frustrated if the guy only wants to have sex 3 times a week, or 5 times a week is pushing it for me. Like, I want to fuck every time I see you. I do. Okay. So I can be demanding that way, but I'm so giving in bed, damn it, it shouldn't matter. So there's a little martyrdom in it. There's a little like, I will give you everything I got and I will take such good care of you.
Okay.
But you better want to fuck me.
Okay, now, if the guy's fucking you, say, 7 times a week, how many times are those of not coming before you go crazy and you have to come somehow?
You know, I'm actually pretty good at making myself come. Like, I can force it.
Okay.
So
when you're having sex?
When I'm having sex.
Or just in general?
When I'm having sex.
Okay.
So, and the reality is I probably wouldn't want to regularly have sex with somebody who
didn't make you come.
Didn't make me come.
Right,
yeah.
right.
I mean,
have you had that happen?
Yeah, and I might get 1 or 2 where first time sometimes things are funky and everybody's uncomfortable, awkward, or nervous, or they haven't come for a while and they're
getting their head about it.
Yeah. So the second time tells a lot.
Okay, the second time tells more than the first time.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
If they're good the first time, I'm in trouble.
Really?
Because I'm in trouble. Mm-hmm.
Define it.
Because I will keep chasing. I just want more and more and more, and there's not enough.
Okay.
Right?
And what's wrong with that? Why is that trouble?
Because it will totally cloud my judgment. If it's a dating situation, if it's just sex, then fantastic.
Right.
But if it's a dating situation and I'm actually looking at a potential romantic partner, long term, looking for some real, I will overlook all kinds of horrible things.
Right. The guy gets behind the wheel and he's screaming at the other drivers. Yeah. And it's just like, but I know
so I'm going to be coming in 10 minutes. Right?
Here, get angry at me, Daddy.
Yeah. Oh, I will say that. So. Take it out on me.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So this black girl. So you've never been with a black guy. Have black guys approached you or no?
I think I'm not really the black guy type.
Okay. In what way?
Like, maybe I'm not thick enough or
so
curvy enough. It is, but it's true.
Okay, so you're not thick enough, not curvy enough, I guess. Have you had any obviously you've had black dudes approach you or holler or something?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhat.
And why hasn't that necessarily come to fruition? Because I've heard you say that, like, some black dudes are fucking hot. So I'm wondering.
Yeah, there are definitely attractive black men. There are men that I would absolutely have sex with.
But is it the same type of scale where it's like with me with the Asian females or black females where like...
You and I agree 100% on I love my white boys.
Okay. Yeah.
Some Latin blood is good too.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I will take that.
You take it?
But yeah, other races, you have to be super hot for me to even be interested. And then I'm not that hot. So maybe I'm not like,
So I could, okay, I see what you're saying. The crisscross happens.
A white boy with a little belly. I love it. That's all good. Mm-hmm. If it was an Indian guy with a little belly, I might be like, no.
Have you been with Indian dudes before?
I went on one date with an Indian guy, and
did he smell?
He didn't smell, and he was lovely. Okay. It was actually a fantastic day. We had great conversation. Okay. He made me Indian food. I love Indian food so much.
Okay.
And he had this big chunk of earwax in his ear hair, and I kept seeing it because he was sitting next to me in the car, and every time I look at him, all I could see was this huge chunk of earwax, and that was it. I never went
So, well,
Clean
I mean,
your ears,
okay,
boys. Clean your ears.
listen.
That is
Okay,
gross.
but you said just now you like older men. Like you can't. I mean, you kind of have to take it for what it is, don't you? I mean, that's an older male thing, isn't it?
Older men know how to clean their ears, like clean wax out of their ears.
Okay.
This is the ear hairs.
But the accidental.
I will
so you're
trim
saying
that
it wasn't
shit for you, baby. I got you.
So you're saying it wasn't necessarily so like I thought it was similar to the guy's got a booger in his nose, like that you can take care of, but you're saying this was like
not on a first date. I mean, if I have to look at that booger all night, I might.
Why don't you just say something?
I don't know. On a first date, I can't. I just.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. A lot.
Yeah, no, obviously you're on this fucking show. So okay, so you haven't been with a black man now. What if you can, without broaching the subject of others' anonymity? What was this black girl situation?
I was with my boyfriend.
Okay.
And we do play with other people.
Okay.
Couples, singles, whatever.
Sure.
And it was a couple.
Mm-hmm.
And he was white, she was black. We'd played with him before. Mm-hmm. And this time she joined.
All right.
Yeah. It was
Very nice. Did you enjoy yourself?
Oh, I did.
Okay. Now, what about the black girl herself? What piece of that was like good? I mean, obviously you've when did you first?
I love to eat pussy. It's the same. I mean,
go ahead.
I love breasts. I mean, who doesn't? Everybody does.
Everybody loves
right?
titties. Yes,
just,
absolutely.
Just the weight in my hands and the softness. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh.
Did she have big ones?
They were good. I mean, but probably C.
Okay.
Which I'm an A cup, so C feels like amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, they were delightful.
Okay. And when did you first know you were interested in females as well?
Oh, out of the gate. I mean,
okay.
Although I remember in middle school weird things happening at slumber parties with other girls who eventually came out as lesbians. Like, they were tickling me, and one's tickling.
We're gonna pause here a little bit, and we're gonna dissect some of this. Okay. So, you're saying in middle school you felt like this was something that felt right to you.
Yeah. Yes. But I mean, I was a pretty hypersexual kid, so I would say even earlier than that, I was like, this feels good. Let's roll. I'm in. I like it. So
right. I talked about an ex of mine from a long time ago. I talked about it on the last episode. She said she was like pretty young, like maybe 5 or 6 or 7 or something, and she would ball up her pillow and like rock up against her pillow, mm-hmm. like that's normal for kids to do. Mm-hmm. I think I started jerking off when I was like 9, and I remember I was watching Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, which is this cartoon movie. Exactly. I hope I've ruined that movie for all of you people. Which, by the way, my brother listens to this pod. Would you stop? What's wrong with you?
I will.
But and I remember like I knew I should stop because I saw. Like I knew like I was doing something bad, but I didn't, I don't even know if I came or not. But I think they were like in the movie, there was a scene where they were doing karate outside or something like that, and this girl was like bandaged up. I think her chest was or something like that. I don't know what set me off. I don't need a whole lot to set me off. Fucking, I'll jerk off now.
No.
But, no. But, yeah, that's what I think my first recollection of doing it was. So you knew pretty young. You were like hypersexual.
Well, part of it, I think, is that I was being molested by my stepfather on the regular. Okay. So I probably knew sexual things sooner than I should have known them.
Okay.
I also knew it felt good and I liked it. So that'll confuse the hell out of a girl. But I grew up with no. We just hadn't. there was sex was just totally okay in my house. Mom walked around naked all the time. There was no boundaries. There was no. My parents talked about sex in front of me. Like it was nothing. My dad also was always naked. I don't know. Like my parents are nudist hippies, right?
Right.
And so there was no shame. There was no, and everything was talked about like it was okay. It didn't matter.
Okay.
And so I knew way more about my mother's sex life than a kid should ever know.
Okay.
But the blessing in that was I didn't walk around with a whole lot of shame. It was just like, let's go.
So normally, what I normally kind of think is that the shame makes the sex better. But you're saying from your experience, you don't necessarily know. It's just the experience itself. It's the mental.
But I like dirty. I like taboo.
Okay.
So anything that, you're not supposed to do.
Okay. So I think I don't know if I don't think I was molested, but I think that I have people close to me who aren't stuff, but I also enjoy taboo and shame too. So I'm not sure where mine came in.
Yeah.
But okay. So if you don't mind going into it a little bit, how old were you when you were molested?
I was in 3rd grade when my mom married my stepdad and he moved in. And then up until I was 15. Okay. So I don't know how old you are in 3rd grade.
I think I was 9, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, it's probably right.
Yeah, 8 or 9. Okay. And yeah. So obviously that confuses things. I was told once, I heard on a radio show once. It's like. Molestation victims when they're kids, sometimes it's like, okay, this feels good, but it's bad. I feel bad. It's like someone said, getting choked with a vanilla ice cream cone. It's like, this is a bad experience, but it also, there's something about it that made you feel good.
Well, because it does feel good. And what's weird is I just didn't have a lot of weird stuff around it. When it got weird, when I was in high school and my friends would say, why does he look at you like that? Why does he touch you like that? Because he was not good at hiding it. Okay. And anyway, so I would walk into a room and he looked like he was drooling and my friends noticed it. That's when it got uncomfortable for me.
So it wasn't, I mean, you knew that it shouldn't happen before then, but you didn't really know why.
There was so much going on in the house. My mom's a drug addict. My dad's an alcoholic. My stepdad was also really physically abusive, but my mom, so that there was a whole, that stuff really whacked me out. Right. The physical abuse totally messed me up. Right. I don't know how much the sexual abuse messed me up. I don't actually know. Okay. Because the physical stuff really did a number on me. Right. The sexual stuff was my sister doesn't like anybody to touch her at all. Okay. I mean, she doesn't want to hug. She doesn't want a handshake. She does not want to cuddle on the couch with her husband. And I'm the opposite. Okay. I want to touch everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people. Right. All day. I could just sit and, be super close and touching and like, I love that shit. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So at one point when you started noticing your friends or when your friends would notice, this is a weird question, but did you resist him before then?
Oh, he was so abusive. There's no like real resistance. Okay. But it was weird because my mom was checked out. My mom was high on the couch. Totally. I mean, all this stuff was going on right around her. And she just pretended like it wasn't happening. And she was high and she was so checked out. So all of my anger was at her. Right. And I was the wife. So I was the one doing all the cooking and all the cleaning and all the taking care of. And I had 2 siblings and I was the oldest. And so it was my job. And I was also, responsible for protecting them from him. I mean, it was this whole... So I grew up sort of being the wife of my stepfather. If that makes sense. Right. Yeah. Maybe, but...
Hey, your experience is your experience. Fuck it. It's too late now. You can't go back anyway. Okay. So you've had other people in your life, I'm sure, and so have I, who, because you were like, I don't think it messed me up at all, but and then I had the thought of like, it's a joke of like, well, we heard the first 20 minutes of this podcast, we don't know, but I also know other women who I don't think being molested is the reason why some women love dick. Like I think,
right? I think I would have loved dick anyway.
Okay,
I do, and. We laughed. So my dad was sick recently, and my sister and my brother and I were at the hospital with him. And my brother, we were pushing him in the wheelchair. And my dad, it was Halloween, and my dad was dressed like a pimp, and he just loved it.
I can see that.
My dad's a perv. Oh, I said that already. Right, and he was saying something sexual, and my brother said, I wish I had inherited your sex drive or something like that. And my sister was like, yeah. And then I looked, I said, I think I got it all.
Right.
I got enough for all three of us. So, yeah, I'm just driven. I don't know.
Right. So, do you also feel like you would have been maternal if you hadn't been maternal as a kid?
Mm-hmm. Even before my parents were divorced and the stepdad came in, I literally was bringing home every stray animal and like my siblings, I was mom to them before that was even necessary.
Right.
It's so
you were the girl who had the Barbies like straight out of the womb. You were like, did you ever?
You know what? I had Barbies and they were prostitutes. So my mom.
All right.
I don't remember what TV show we were watching, but I said, "What's a hooker?" Because they talked about hooker on the TV show, and my mom said, "A hooker is a woman who."
Look in the mirror, bitch. What did she say?
A hooker is a woman who sells her body for money. And I was like, sweet. I thought that was the coolest way to make money.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you could have, absolutely. I wouldn't
then,
have no fucking scruples. One time I don't know if I've told this on the podcast.
But then you'd have to have sex with people you don't want to have sex with.
Yeah, I got head from a dude for $20. I got head from a dude for $20. I had already been experimenting with it, and I needed money for camels and gas. So, it's like, if I could put an ad on Craigslist, it took me a couple of minutes. And, the guy came over. I did not come. And then he left.
You paid $20 and you didn't come.
No, he paid me.
He paid you.
Yeah, he paid me. But he was like, yeah, I had a good time, I'm a cheap play.
Did you call him the second time?
Right,
I think I can come now.
Right, I was like, I had to go in the bathroom. I had to go in my bedroom and jerk off afterwards. But anyway, but yeah. Okay. So, so you had that. Have you ever felt? Let's see, either by men for sure, or angry, jealous men, or women as well. Have you ever been shamed for liking the amount of dick that you like? Not just quantity. I mean, just the quality of the love that you have for penis. Have you ever felt slut shamed?
Oh, yeah. 1,000,000 times over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Men or women more?
Oh, men seem very grateful for it.
Okay.
Most of the time, unless their drive isn't as strong as mine. Because I will end a relationship because if it's not enough. You better open the relationship and let me get somewhere else, or you better satisfy
Have you ever been with you've been with a dude, he's not as sex driven as you are.
Yeah.
And okay. How many times do you think? A bunch? Or
no.
Only a couple of times?
Only a couple times, and I am.
It's got to be the older you've gotten, right? With the more older dudes that you've reached out to, or that you've dated.
Yeah, I do think over 50 makes a difference.
Okay, over 50. But I'm sure you've been with sluts in their 50s as well.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay, for sure. So you felt shamed by those dudes, outwardly or just in reaction?
I think we were both just frustrated.
Okay.
Right? Because, this relationship's great other than this thing.
Right. And have you ever, So
and
now
this
you
is
said
a big thing for me.
You said an interesting way. You said it in an interesting way, though. You said you better open the relationship up now. Here's the question: have you ever asked for that in certain relationships?
Yes.
Okay.
I do not
Afterwards.
find that men are really fond of that.
Well,
My
yeah. When it's
experience
coming
is-
from you, you understand why, though, right?
No.
Okay. So here's what it is.
I love your face. I wish people could see your face right now.
My face is wonderful all the time.
Like, I'm going to teach you something.
Well, yeah, you fucking need it. So fucking calm down. So here's the thing. So with dudes, our pride is all based in that mostly. Yeah, okay. It's physicality. Okay, yeah, smarts, blah, 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 blah. Funny, okay, yeah. But really, it's like, can a dude beat me up or can I beat up a dude? And am I sexually, how's my prowess, right? And I've had, like when a guy introduces it into the relationship, it's because he genuinely wants that. And I'm not saying that the girl doesn't genuinely want okay. Here's what it is. I feel like the dude should already be on top of that. Like, that's just my personal judgment. The guy should already be, okay, this isn't, but then again, maybe that's just my own personal experience. I could be judging the situation incorrectly, but I feel like that's the dude's job to kind of steer the ship a little bit about like, okay, how's this relationship going? And if things aren't working, okay, let's try this, let's try that. Rather than, I feel like, and I'm not saying a female, like you shouldn't have asked for what you want, but it almost feels like you're making the turn for us. It almost feels like this weird, like I feel like a female asking that already you're in trouble.
I could totally see that. And I'm a sub, so I definitely attract men who wouldn't be happy about being called out on something like that.
I don't think any dude would be happy about that.
I don't know.
But I think you being a sub would mean that you also don't. I mean, some girls. I feel like most girls, even if they're not subs, there's such a fucking small amount. I'm sorry, girls, but who aren't. I feel like it would go back to that idea of even when you ask a non-sub, you ask him out, and he's like, well, where do you want to go? You know what I mean? None of you guys want to be asked where do you want to go on a date. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We kind of should already have an idea. Now, why wouldn't that also work in when we're already past the point of dating, in a relationship? Mm-hmm. I also kind of have to not be a shithead, not be abusive, not be domineering necessarily, but like, if I know I'm not as sexually driven, or if I don't know, it's just not a problem. It's not a problem I relate to.
No, I could see it really not working though. I could see, that hurting the ego a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
So what hurts your ego in relationships?
Well,
has a guy ever brought up to you, hey, maybe we should open this up, and you felt insufficient?
No.
Okay, you felt more excited.
Yes.
Good girl. Okay. How many times has that happened to you?
It happened without. I know you know how much I love communicating, and when I was young, it was really hard for me. And
I cannot fucking imagine.
With my daughter's father, it just sort of happened where he cheated on me with my best friend and then this other girl. Okay. And then pretty soon I was like, I'm going to get back at him and I'm going to sleep with this other guy. Right. Then I was sleeping with this other guy for years. Okay. And then he was kind of sleeping with open. But it was, and then he was sleeping with the, women, and we knew it was going on. We were sort of avoiding the conversation.
Okay. All right. Now, did that work for you?
Yeah, it was fine. Mm-hmm.
Meaning? In what way? Like, in the grand scheme of things, you would feel okay with it, or meaning like...
Yes, I would feel okay with that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you would be okay with a relationship being open halvesies. You know what I mean? Or like, relationship open, you can do it one way where you tell each other, or you can do it the way you don't tell each other.
I can go either way. I mean, currently I do it where... Well, it's open on his end and not on mine.
Okay.
But he does tell me. So I know about what's happened or going to happen. Or
how do you feel about that personally? Do you feel like you prefer knowing, or do you feel like...
I'm super avoidant, so if you ask me, I would rather not know. You just don't tell me. Don't tell me. But I have to say, when he sends pictures, like, oh, he's there and he's thinking of me, and he's taking pictures for me, and I like that. Like, oh, and I like being included. If that's, I don't know, that's weird.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I was dating somebody who was long distance, and we had been closed, and then we had been open before she had moved somewhere, and then we were still open, and then we had been closed for a little bit, and then we were talking on the phone, and she was like, well, why don't you get together with somebody? You know, I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? She's like, do you have somebody in mind? And I was like, immediately, I was like, texted this person. And I don't think she expected me to have somebody ready. Mm-hmm. But I had been flirting with this girl and was just kind of chomping at the bit. So I texted this girl, and she was down. Anyway, she wanted to chat with her beforehand. The girlfriend wanted to chat with the side girl beforehand so that she could understand, like, okay, hey, you know.
He really has permission.
Right. He really has permission, I guess, and whatever.
Use a condom. I don't know.
Don't ever say those words. But no, it was like, you know, and there was something about that. And then we swapped up, like about 2 or 3 days later. I spent time with this girl, and then she's like, my girlfriend was like, I would like to spend time with somebody over there. And I was like, all right, well, I can't really. I mean, don't get me wrong. I put up a little bit of a fucking fight because I'm a hypocrite. Really? Yeah. Well, here's the reason why. Okay, it's not like I said. Same thing with the females. Mm-hmm. I have been in open relationships where the female wants to tell you so that she can manipulate and have your hand behind your back to get you to close the relationship, where she will try to make me jealous. Oh, right. Intentionally. Right. And so I felt like, okay, this is that. Because you aren't just saying, okay, you can have free reign with this one girl, and then 2 seconds later be like, oh, by the way, I want to have free reign with somebody. So anyway, I wasn't happy necessarily about it. But at the end of that little conversation, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. So me and the dude chatted, and I was like, go get her, Tiger, you know? And so they had fun.
After you had that conversation,
right,
and you were like, "Go get her," did you have feelings after that, or
during? You mean romantic?
Like, were you like, no?
Oh,
are they
and he's
right
entering
now?
her now,
and I'm feeling insecure.
So a little bit, yeah. For that hour or so, it was just like, this is fucking wasn't great. But then again. So is everything. I feel like that's just another thing where it's like a muscle thing. If I want an open relationship, tough shit. Like, that's the thing is like, my girlfriend at the time let me fuck this other girl. I can't be mad at her. You know, I can't be jealous. Like, I have to just soldier up and just say, all right, fucking go get her. You know what I mean? Have a good time. Fucking whatever. And anyway, later on, she told me that at the time, when she and that guy were having fun, it was fine. You know, there was definitely a little dick measuring in my mind afterwards. But she had said that what helped her come in that instance was imagining me there, like petting her head while she was getting fucked by somebody. Isn't that a strange... Nothing in my body. When I'm fucking another girl, I don't want you in the room, baby. I want you in my mind. I mean, I've had a threesome with her. It's fun. But, you know, like, there's not, like, that's not my natural inclination to be like, but it helped her relax enough to come, was imagining me be a part of it, right? Because I technically was, right? And so it goes to the idea that, you know, Patrice used to talk about, like, you know, when he would use these toys and these dildos and things and ass plugs and stuff on girls. And some of the guys talking to him would be like, aren't you jealous, or aren't you afraid she's going to like that thing more than you? It's like, no. That thing is attached to me. Everything I do with her sexually is attached to me. You know what I mean? That's a difference between y'all and us. That is a fucking difference between y'all and us. I don't, like I said, I don't want you near. I don't want you. I will do it because it's fun and because if I, anyway. So, obviously it wasn't your first, you're not in your first open relationship.
No.
Okay. When was the first time you had one?
Well, it was that one that evolved into it, right?
Right.
So I was 15 when we started. By the time I was 17, it was open.
Right. But it wasn't an honest one, necessarily, because you said you didn't share with each other with the...
Yeah, we just avoided it. I mean,
okay.
we both had permission. And
now, you loved this person at the time.
Oh, my God. I loved him so much. I could not... We were either fucking or fighting. It was the most passionate relationship ever.
I kind of like those ones. I kind of like those ones.
I would jump out of the moving vehicles.
Right.
I mean, we'd be punching each other in the car. It was crazy.
Right. Like those ones, did you ever get on top of a hood? Get on top of a car hood?
No, I never did that.
I could see you doing that.
Yeah,
I could see you doing that.
Right.
So,
yeah, we loved each other. We could not stay away from each other. We would break up constantly and just to get sucked right back in. Yeah. I couldn't. Breaking away from him was impossible. And the only way I actually did it, I remember when, so then we broke up and probably a year later, I moved in with another guy. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm finally...
A year.
Finally letting go of him now. Because there's no going back from this, right?
So you had been split up for a year, but did you fuck in that year?
No. But I missed him so much. And we had a kid together. And it was crazy. It was just, we were insane. And we both started dating other people at the same time. And they moved in together right after we moved in together, and then they got married right after we got married. Then they had twins right after we had baby. I mean,
okay. So it sounded like it was natural. Do you ever talk to him?
No.
Okay.
I mean, at a funeral, I want to say a few years ago, but
okay. So maybe there's a difference between that one and the one. Obviously, there's many. But, so it sounds like you don't necessarily get jealous.
What I get is insecure. Like, I've identified, it's not I mean, it's really, I get insecure about he's going to like her better than me, or he's going to figure out he should be with her, not me. Or she's going to do something way better than I do it, and he's going to want to. And so that's the stuff that plagues me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you ever had it happen?
No.
Where your boyfriend goes with somebody else or your husband goes with somebody else?
No, and I've never been cheated on. I mean, other than that first, high school relationship. So.
Okay. But you've had guys open up the relationship, and so in a way, you knew mentally that they wanted other women.
Entered into it open, which is a little different than...
Sure. Have you ever been in a relationship, not the one where y'all are cheating on each other? I'm saying, have you been in a relationship where it was closed and then it was opened?
No.
Okay. And
because my experience is that most guys want to possess me. They don't want anybody else to touch me. I mean, and they get really possessive and jealous, and that's been my experience. That drive to own me is greater than their drive to bang other people. I don't know.
That you know of.
That I know.
I'm a little weird about that too. Not obviously they may have fucked other people. What I'm saying is, and I think we've talked about it before, I feel like that if they genuinely want an open relationship, sometimes guys just lie to themselves so that they're more afraid. They you could call it want to own me. What it is in my opinion, they just are afraid of you leaving, and so they'd rather than do, like, as an example, what you're doing now, where you play with blah blah, where I just want Yeah, I don't know. It feels just like insecurity to me more than
I'm sure it's
genuine.
Really fear-driven control.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. So has knowing about it helped your insecurity?
No.
No, not knowing about the insecurity. I'm saying has
Knowing
knowing about your partner playing with somebody helped your insecurity? No. Mm-hmm. So even you being, quote unquote, a part of it, it's still there.
Yeah. It's still there. But I'm just insecure all the time. There's no... that's
I can relate to that.
That's not going away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's also good information to have, though. Mm-hmm. If that's not going away, then it doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier today. I was playing somewhere and I was worried about it. And I was like, I would just be worried about something else if I wasn't worried about this. You know what I mean? I move my worry from thing to thing. And so the thing isn't necessarily the problem. The worry is the problem. Right. The insecurity is the problem. You know what I mean? I actually was held. Ray gave me a hug. I got to play at the memorial of John, who I didn't know him very well, but he was an acquaintance, and I had met him through the Bear Chest Calendar because I played music for the Bear Chest Calendar and the Mr. San Francisco Leather a couple of times. And John passed away last week, and so I got to, like 5 minutes afterwards when I saw Daddy Ray's post about it, I messaged, hey, if you need somebody. And Ray was like, I was just thinking about you. So I got to do that today. Oh. And during the second song, I know there's a weird transition, but I'm going to go off. Y'all know this is no. So I, during the second song, I started fucking bawling. I was like, why am I crying? Like, I mean, it was just a touching time, and I'm like, I don't know, John very well, I'm glad I get to be of service, but I guess it came down to this idea of enjoying the time while you have it, mm-hmm. and it also was connected to this. Enjoy the people while you have them, and reach out to other people if you're going through stuff, and then I get off stage and I'm like, Ray, he said, fucking big boy. You'll hear him. I already told him he's coming on. He's like, yeah, okay.
Cool.
But he's got this big, deep voice, and he's just, daddy of all these little boys running around, not little boys, but,
mm-hmm,
little boys,
mm-hmm.
And, so we hug and we start crying and whatever. And I was like, he was like, I hope you realize, like, you do a lot, like, we love your big heart and your big spirit, and just, I don't like that. I don't like being, I don't like being comforted. You know what I mean? Like, I do, but I there's something in me is like, get the fuck, like, I just needed to get the fuck out of there. You know what I mean? It's a weird, I don't know why I went off into that transition, but it just, it was a weird experience. And then he said he was thinking of bottoming just for me. That's Anyway, so
I made a video of that.
I know. We'll have Daddy on soon. He's a good boy. I love him. Anyway, yeah, I've been in a relationship. The jealousy is definitely a thing, but I think getting used to it is possible. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Obviously there's a time, and I talked about it on another episode where I was trying to get used to it so much that I was completely ignoring the fact that I didn't actually want it in that instance with this person. So I had kind of changed things up. But I guess that is possible. So you've literally seen partners in the moment with them, not over a text, with other people.
Yes.
Okay. Now, was that worse or better?
It's so fun. I love that so much.
Wait, okay. So where does the insecurity come in?
So the insecurity comes in more when
you're not there?
I'm not there because I don't know, and I'm going to imagine the worst.
Okay.
I mean, I love him.
Like
I want him to be happy. I want him to have as much joy as he can possibly have.
Right.
If that means that he's fucking somebody else, like, I want that for him.
Right.
But what I imagine in my head
mm-hmm.
is like, he loves this so much more than being with me,
mm-hmm.
right?
Or she's taking it all the way down, like, no problem. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And he's girthy.
Okay.
So good for her. She can do that.
You ever had problem with side? See, I think side is problematic.
Oh, side
That's what
is hard.
you have to be like on your knees,
Yeah.
trying. Yeah, that's weird.
It's
Or upside down. Like,
and
have you
I
ever
have
been?
a big mouth. I mean, it's
true.
big. I can fit big things in there, but the back of the throat isn't that big. So if you have a big cock, it just angle is important,
Right.
or else you're gonna get my teeth.
Right.
So have fun with that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, have you ever? I mean, obviously, it sounds like you started off knowing like I could deep throat something, but have you ever practiced like a rubber band or like a baseball mitt? Have you ever oiled up your throat to put some rubber bands around it? Okay, all right.
But I've had lots of practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not 12.
No. Okay. Now, in conversation, how often have you met another like good fucking girl? Now, I think good girls open up more depending on the guy. A good motherfucker,
Absolutely. Yes.
fucking them right. Because there are some times where a girl's just like, nah, I like to kind of this and that, and I'm like, bitch, you just haven't gotten fucked yet. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
you've had sex, but you have not gotten fucked.
Right.
So how often do you meet like another goddamn good girl?
The girlfriends I have who really love sex, we stick together close. We're close.
Okay.
Right? Because I can talk to them about anything and there's no judgment. Where some of my other girlfriends don't get it at all. And so I just don't even talk to them about it because it's pointless. They don't really enjoy sex. They don't.
Have you felt slut shamed by them?
Oh, yeah. I had one girlfriend, a couple girlfriends in particular, who, one, they don't like the BDSM lifestyle so much. So they'll be like, why do you let that happen? I'm like, oh, my God, it's so fantastic. You don't know.
You realize you should give them my number, right? That's I'll let them know.
And then, some, they're just not into sex. They have no interest or sex drive. They're just, and so I will say things and the shock on their face.
Right.
I had one girlfriend who I was talking to her about eating ass. I know you love to talk about that on the show. I'm a big
Welcome
fan
to the show.
of eating. Not so much of getting my ass eaten because I have a pussy. That feels amazing.
Right.
What are you doing with my ass?
Okay, but
Women
does it
don't
feel
have
weird? No, I know that, but does it feel good in some way? Does it feel strange? Does it feel taboo?
If there's some taboo to it, but
Okay.
it's a little vanilla for me at this
Ooh,
point.
right.
But,
they have to sock you in the face.
Exactly. You have to punch me in the face, and I'll be
Right.
like, ooh.
I felt the
Daddy.
wind. Right. Okay. What were you saying?
So, anyways, I was talking to her about eating some guy's ass or something, and she's like, I can't believe you do that. And this is a girl, she loves sex.
Right.
But she likes, missionary sex. But she
Okay.
likes to get pounded. She just,
right.
that's it, really.
Right. How old was she?
Older than me. Late 40s.
See, this is what I...
So anyways, she was like, I'm not even going to let you around my boyfriend knowing that you do that. Like, what?
And you goddamn shouldn't. And you fucking shouldn't. We're gonna get you a shirt that says
Keep
I
me
eat
away from
ass. Right.
I mean, what? I mean, nobody... Like, he would know just by looking at me.
Right.
That I would tongue the...
I mean, come
on.
I mean,
I don't dress like
it's not about the dress. It's not about the dress. It's about as soon as I was like, all right, no, I know this one. Right away.
Oh.
Right away. Come on.
We met a long time ago.
I know.
And I was with my boyfriend.
I know.
Yeah.
But well, not the current one, but you were with a different one.
Different boyfriend.
No, yeah, there is something to be said. So, like I was saying, even the ones who lack the self-knowledge, I would say, to know more about themselves sexually. Like, there have been plenty of girls I've been with who don't necessarily like something, but like it because I like it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So stuff opens up. You never know. And for the right guy, you know what I mean? But no female has ever, like, introduced something to me sexually. I think I lost my virginity. I was 17. She was 19. And then, like, I went on, like, a 18-month dry streak. And then I hooked up with another girl. I must have been 18, 19, and she was 38. And you know, I think I tried like that. You ever tried flavored lube?
Yeah.
What the fuck's wrong with you? Ugh, flavored lube. It's just unnecessary. I like eating pussy. Like I don't like to, I don't want to taste like the fucking plasticky jelly donut filling pussy. But like I've never had a female like introduce. In fact, I've had multiple times where a female's like, "Watch what I do," and I'm just like, "All right." Boring the shit out of me, girl. Like I don't need you to, you know what I mean?
Right.
In fact, sometimes I'll give a girl the keys. I'll say, "Okay, you got the keys for a little bit." You know what I mean? And often, either a girl doesn't know what to do with it, or she does her thing, but she's more doing it with the mind of, "I'm doing this slow stuff," or that's something like to please him. Like when I have the keys, I'm going in for me, and you're getting it. You know what I mean? And, but I mean, you know, ultimately, I'm a good fucking dom. Like I know, like you pay attention, and I'm, you know, but it's not like I'm gonna sacrifice my time because I want her to be like, no, like, you know what I mean? Like I like. Am I making sense? I like getting the reactions, but it's not the same thing. I just like pointing out the difference there. I like pointing out the difference between a female and a male, and because way too often I was at a gathering yesterday, and you know, because sometimes some of the feminists I hear are like, they have this idea that, you know, men and women are the same. It's a social construct. And I was thinking about it. I was looking around the room, and I'm in a room in San Francisco, which means, you know, what you think it means. There are like maybe two dudes in there, and I'm one of them.
Right.
And I was looking around, and I was like, okay, if someone came in swinging their fists at people, it would be up to me and that dude over there to try to stop that motherfucker. I'm not gonna look around at the girls and say, someone do something.
Right.
Suddenly, all of a sudden it's not a social construct. All of a sudden it's someone needs to man up and stop this motherfucker. So I'm trying to bring that into real life where like, let's talk about it. You know what I mean? Which is part of this conversation and all of these, or not all of these, but a lot of these conversations is like, let's be fucking real. You know what I mean? About the animals that we are.
I have a friend who talks about, and it's a male friend, but he talks about how women need their boyfriend to be able to kill them if they have to, right? Because that means that you can protect us from those who would come in to destroy us, right? Right? And as females, we're vulnerable. That's just the reality.
Okay.
And so we know that. We're walking around vulnerable. We know how vulnerable we are. I feel it all the time. Just walking from that little parking space to here, I was like, oh my gosh, how many ways can I get hurt out here?
Okay.
500. I mean. Okay.
Now, you were thinking about that actively, or you saw some creepy, sketchy person?
Actively. I don't, just being in the city makes me uncomfortable.
Okay.
We come to the city a lot, but I was accosted by a homeless person, not, you know, as soon as I was alone. It was like the second I was alone, some guy was in my face, you know, half an inch from my face screaming at me. And I'm super PTSD, so it just doesn't go over very well. But so it's important to me that I know that the man that I'm with is actually a man and can, you know, can protect me, can take care of somebody else if needed, right? So that's, for me, an attractive quality.
Right. But I feel like a female who thinks that that's not an attractive quality is just angry. She's defensive.
Right.
Because she's been hurt a lot. But so has every woman. So why do some women who get, quote unquote, and I mean mentally hurt, I don't mean just, you know, she's been raped or she's been hit or something. I'm saying, like that stupid, you know, that line from that fucking Will Smith song. It's like, okay, you've been hurt, don't take it out on the next. It's like, okay, like we all get hurt lots of different ways. So why is it okay for me to for me to live in dishonesty just because I've been hurt? You know what I mean? I don't know where that line is, where that split goes when, okay, we've all been hurt, or girls have been hurt, but they're willing to Like they just react a different way on the grand scale. Instead of going, I'm gonna buzz my head and just I'm gonna be like super tough and I'm gonna. Have you never noticed like all these tough girls are just acting like tough dudes? Yeah. Like you don't get your own version of tough. No, like you just act like us. You know what I mean? Even in music videos.
95% of the time you can actually look tough, but a guy will take you down. Right. I mean, my experience has been it does not matter how hard I fight back, even with a guy who's the same size as me. My ex was the same. I mean, I wore his clothes, pants, right? I mean, he was a small guy. He could always pin me. He was just stronger than me, and that's. So if somebody my size can hurt me, right? Somebody who's, not that I'm trying to be tough, but I was certainly tougher back then.
Right. You would get scrappy.
I was scrappy.
Yeah. Drunk and high and scrappy.
Yeah. And I learned how to pick things up and hit you with them and bite and whatever. I would do whatever I had to do.
Right.
But now, he would still win.
Right. But I feel like what we do is, or what a lot of these girls have done is, in order to get that security, they make believe, and so the only way to really test that is to cross the line. You know what I mean?
To challenge, right?
To challenge that. But even challenging that by approaching them sexually is somehow like that's not okay. So it's almost like I was over in the East Bay, and it just feels like these girls want to completely like bubble tape their whole world. You know what I mean? Where like even a little bit of manness, like I feel out of place over there because I'm a dude, and I'm like walking around just like I feel like girls only want dudes if there's the security as well, and you don't get that. But the thing is, girls, is that we have our own version of that. It may not be as physically, like we can't be raped. I mean, we can be, but most of the time, really, it's by dudes. And we can't be. I mean, we could be hit, we could be get into a fight, but obviously I'm not saying we're as vulnerable as you guys. No. But we have our own version of vulnerable.
Sure.
And the male reaction, the unhealthy, gross, stupid, pathetic male reaction is incels. You ever heard of incels? These people who are involuntary celibate, where no one's fucking them. And so in order to... It's that guy who drove that, I think it was in Toronto. Yes. He drove a fucking van through because people aren't fucking him.
Right.
So that's frowned upon, isn't it?
Right.
Also, what's frowned upon is the guys in this group called MGTOW, which is men going their own way. It's this fucking pathetic group of people who they don't want to. They're so fed up, quote unquote, with females that they're just going to hire prostitutes and play video games all day. And the only sex they want is through prostitutes. And they work, they get money, they play video games, and they fuck hookers.
Sounds
and
like that's. Sorry.
I'll get some piece of paper and a pen for you in a sec. But there's a but like that's pathetic in its own way because you're lying to yourself. You just don't want to face the rejection from females, and so you're gonna go, well, fuck it, I'm just sick of these girls. Okay, well that's frowned upon. We all know that that's pathetic. But suddenly a girl buzzing her head and like getting a fucking nose ring and just acting all tough, and for some reason all of these tough broads have to pull their pants all the way up past their belly button. Like, stop, girls. Anyway, but like that's not frowned upon. That's not socially pathetic. I mean, I feel like I see it as socially pathetic because if someone ran into this Whole Foods and fucking started beating the shit out of you, who are you gonna goddamn look to? My stupid ass. The same person that you felt like what a evil man he is because he voted like. You're going to look to me. You're not going to say, wait, who did you vote for before you defend me against this guy who's sucking the shit out of me? Right. Grow up, girls. God damn it. And I'm grow up dudes too. I think it's our fault for fucking like when a girl tests you and you just go, I'm sorry because you don't want the hassle or you want to get the pussy and so you kowtow. It makes it easier to kowtow next time and you just slowly slouch further and further. And have you ever done that intentionally or not intentionally in a relationship?
No. Cuz I love masculinity. Right. I mean, it's so hot. Why would I ever want to take that away from the man I'm with? And actually when I see women do that or girlfriends or women I know with her, I don't want somebody to pick up my purse. not a dude. Do not touch my purse. That's my purse. You carry my purse, and I feel like your balls are in it. I am not interested in that.
Right.
I need you to be a man, please. Thank you very much.
And you've had men who you're with or who you've dated who have done that to themselves, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Or they've had past experiences with women. And
give me the example that comes to your mind of guys like cutting off their own balls.
Well, I think in one of your podcasts you talked about how men
put the mic a little. There you go.
My mouth on this big black cock. You talked about how men filter themselves to get pussy.
Right.
Right. So they've learned to not be honest.
Right.
They've learned to say what they need to say or whatever. Right. And that's what I feel happens is that men want to get what they want to get and don't feel like they can be honest about who they are or what they actually want. Mm-hmm. So they pretend to, they totally pretend to be somebody else. Mm-hmm. And then at some point they take it on. I feel like they
take it on. What do you mean?
Like you talked about, they just slump over, right? It's this, all of a sudden they're like, oh, this is me. And now I'm, walking through life and I'm like a woman. Right. But my intentions are good. I want to be a good guy. Right. I want to be with her.
Right. But the premise, the definition of good guy is not the definition of good guy. Mm-hmm. Like the real definition of a good guy is someone who's kind, maybe, warm, good to kids, good to the girl, blah, blah, blah. But also will tell a girl no.
Right.
That's a fucking good guy. A guy who's honest.
Women like a man who will stand up to them. They do.
Right.
I don't care what anybody says. Women want a man who will stand up to them.
Right.
We like a backbone.
Right.
Right. I do not want to be running the show. I do not.
So remember the analogy that I've talked about sometimes on the podcast where you need somebody to kiss the boo-boos and you need somebody to shoot the wolf. Mm-hmm. Does that kind of feel about right to you? Mm-hmm. Okay. So if we were at the whim of either one of those 100% of the time, we're fucked. Right? Because someone needs to fucking kiss someone needs to know, like, it's not all military and it's not all, you can be nice to yourself or whatever the fuck jerk off shit. But also we can't just live at the whim of your feelings. You know what I mean? Like, you know from your experience and you have 2 kids, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you know from your experience, if you live at the whim of your kids' feelings, nothing will get done.
Right.
You know what I mean? When did you have... No. When did you have kids?
16 for my first, and the second I was 25.
Okay. What was the difference between having the 2? I guess one of them was
a pain in my ass. Still is.
Right.
Yeah. One was hard.
Okay. Just physically, like the birth itself.
Birth itself, I actually had easy. I know.
Both times?
Yeah, I shouldn't ever. When I was 16 when I had my daughter. I had her all natural. I didn't have any, epidural or anything. And the doctor came in and she came so fast. They literally called some doctor I'd never met from the hall. And because they'd called my doctor, but he was going to take some time to get there. And the baby was born. Boom. Jeez. And so when my doctor got there, he said, "Oh my God," he said, "You were born for this." I was like, "I know." He's like, "No, most girls your age were peeling them off the ceiling," and he's like, for some reason, but I just think physically, my hip configuration or something, I'm just set up for having babies.
And do you feel like mentally you were set up for it too, right? Like we were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Came naturally for me. I loved my kids out of the gate. I heard that,
Gal. Talk about taking some time.
And for me, it was just, literally seeing the ultrasound. It was immediate. I was like, oh my God. With my son, it was so bad. I could not stop touching my stomach, my pregnant belly.
Right.
And the guys that I worked with were like, will you stop touching yourself, Nicole? I was like, I can't stop.
You just wanted to touch him?
I did. I was so connected and so in love. And with him, I thought, well, I already loved my daughter so much. There's no way I could possibly love a second baby as much as I loved the first one. And he came out and it was just like, my heart just exploded. It just, yeah.
Obviously you were warned about that, I'm sure, beforehand. Was it like did you have expectations beforehand?
About
what it would feel like?
No. At the time, I really didn't hang out with women at all. So, I just didn't. I wasn't hanging out with the ladies. Wasn't hanging out with other moms.
Right.
I didn't. Yeah.
Are they as annoying as Bridget talked about? The other moms?
Yeah, it's not my scene. It's not.
You can't talk about eating ass?
No. Why are we talking about this? Now, today, I have good female friendships.
Okay.
But it took a long time to find the right women, is the reality.
Okay. Yeah, I was actually, you haven't heard the episode yet, but me and Mark, who you'll definitely have some things you agree with and definitely have some things you disagree with. He's a MAGA guy, but he's also into hip hop, and we talk about some pimp game shit, and it's great. Anyway, one of the things we talked about was like how I was talking about females not getting context and things like that, which is obviously a very popular opinion of mine. And I realized, I was like, wait a second, you don't get mad at me, girls. Y'all don't like each other either. Like, don't get fucking, you know what I mean? He made that joke of like how, sometimes girls would be like scrolling through their timeline of like, yeah, I don't like her either. But like you have like selfies just so that you can, you have girlfriends so that you can take selfies with each other and put it on Instagram.
I have seen that. I don't do that, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between the female friends you have now? Obviously, some of them, you said the right women. Some of them still sound like maybe the right women, but they're not the right women for every topic, I guess.
Right, not the right women for every topic. So, but I think part of it's maturity. Okay. I mean, I have no desire to have a romantic relationship with a woman at all.
Yeah,
zero interest.
Y'all are the fucking
worst.
worst.
My God, I couldn't. If somebody started crying,
right.
Shoot me now. No. But, God, I'll have sex with them all day.
Right.
That's great.
Right.
But no.
Now, what about eating? So, I don't know if we elaborated. So, the eating pussy thing, you said pussy in general. So, it's not the, it makes you feel the same as sucking a dick, or just
it's totally different. Yeah. Or maybe not. I don't know. I just really, with the black girl, I remember I came up and she had come like all down my hair. So my hair was just like, it was wet and it smelled amazing. And all night I was like, I smell like her. Right. I just loved that.
The next day you ever just smell your hair.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was dripping. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. She was fun. So, yeah. But, so girlfriends, I have learned to
accept them for what they are.
Yeah, and the limitations of my girlfriend relationships, and also the limitations of my male-female relationships. I mean, I love men. I would happily hang out with men all the time.
Right. We're just more fun. I think we really are. We're funnier. Yes. We get, I mean, I go back to this context idea because I don't hear a buzzword and then just go off on a tangent. I try to wait for what the person's going to say. I'm not very good at it sometimes. But like, I try to like understand and get where they're coming from. Instead, even when people on the podcast, when someone tells me something I disagree with, I try to go, okay. Like, okay, I feel you. You know what I mean? Rather than, well, I don't really think, like, I don't know. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. So yes, I agree. I would rather hang out with men all the time. Right. There's just less. So, but a close girlfriend of mine says the reason why I prefer to hang out with men is because I can use my sexuality to get past any uncomfortable spots, any conflict. Right? Sure. I can avoid conflict by turning up the sexuality a little bit.
But even then, I feel like conflict when it's one female and a bunch of dude friends, conflict doesn't even come up.
Yeah, it's so rare.
It's probably partially because of the sex angle. But I've never seen or I can't think of any examples of a female having to turn up the sexuality, because often we're just happy you're there. You know what I mean? We don't really care. It's like light on the drama.
The expectations are lower when you guys aren't. Whereas, my girlfriends, if I don't show up for them exactly as they want me to show up for them, I have one girlfriend who says, I want you to track me. So know what's going on in my life, and then text me, and what
does that mean, track me?
So she wants me to know when difficult things are happening in her life, and message her and say, hey, I know you had that interview today. How did that go? Or I know you were going to have that difficult conversation with your daughter. How are you feeling with that? Right. And it's, which is funny because I'm saying that to you, and I feel like you're actually pretty good at that with me.
Well, yeah, because I know the fucking nut job I'm dealing with. But
I'm apparently not as good at that because I get called out on it. And then I don't like big social groups, and I feel like girls all want to hang out in a gaggle, and I just don't like it. Makes me. I don't want to do that.
So when you go up to
one-on-one,
when a bunch of girls want to go up to the city, what does that make you feel? Why?
Unless we're going dancing.
Okay.
Then I'm in.
Okay, so what about a gaggle of females makes you feel like?
Well, I'm gonna have
you all get on the same cycle, obviously.
Superficial conversations, or conversations about emotions, or I'm gonna have to hear about their dumb stuff with their boyfriend, or I don't know. And usually I like one of the women, and then three of the other women I'm like, oh, well, whatever.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. But when there's dancing, there's less talk.
Exactly. That's why I like to dance.
Right.
Dance and hike.
Right.
Movies.
Right. So, now, the superficial angle, could that be because you don't know the other three females very well, or could that be because...
Well, there's a group of us that go... out pretty regularly to go hike, or we'll go out to eat or whatever. And there's one that I like. And then the other ones, they have no depth. I love depth. I love intensity. I love depth. And I don't care about your fingernails. I just,
Right. You don't seem to be a very fingernail kind of girl anyway.
No, I'm not.
Right.
So, and then part of it's then, well, I'm not fancy enough to be hanging out with you guys, or you guys are talking about purses, and I don't shop, right? I mean, I don't like to do a lot of stuff that girls like to do. Right.
Besides sucking dick.
Yeah.
But how often can you bring up sucking dick when you're at that? Because I've talked about it on here, and you and I have talked about it, the filthiness. Actually, here, before we go off onto that tangent, I got to urinate.
Okay.
Do you want to use the restroom?
What time is it? How are we doing?
Oh, it's 4:33. How much time you got?
I got probably another 20 minutes.
All right, well then I'll wait.
Okay.
See how nice I am to
you
fucking you?
So
God
nice.
Damn it. Here's what I'm saying. What's the what was the thing I was just saying? Oh. When a gaggle of females get together, elaborate on the filthiness. What happens? So when you're with the right girls.
So that's usually one-on-one. I don't find that. I think girls are self-conscious around each other, and they don't want to say the wrong thing or something.
Okay.
But when you get one, female alone, and and unless it's a couple of women who, it's funny because
are dirty little.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was backpacking recently with 3 women, right? 2 of them know I am filthy because they are filthy, and we will pass dick pics. I mean, all that. We are talking about, taking it in the ass, whatever. We will talk about all kinds of dirty shit.
Sure.
Now the other one had no idea, and I've known her just as long, but I don't talk to her about it because she doesn't. So when it came up in front of her that I have sex with women, she was shocked. She couldn't believe it.
Really?
Because I've known her 10 years and we've never discussed it.
Where's her intuition? That just
I was like, why would
you should have just said smell my fingers.
That could be me because my fingers are always up in there.
I know.
But yeah.
Okay, interesting. Was she shocked in a turned off way, or she's just innocently shocked?
Innocently shocked.
Okay.
Now she knew the other two were like that because they're lesbians.
Right.
But she had no idea.
Okay, now the other two are lesbians, and yet they're talking about filthy things too.
They're lesbians, but they also love cock. So they're like the opposite of me. I love men, but also love pussy.
Right.
They love women, but still love cock.
Okay, now how often do these girls, what's their phone number?
They play with men regularly.
I'm right here. Conservatish@gmail.com. But what I think is what interests me about that especially is that it does kind of break the stereotype, because often these days anyway in this Me Too movement we're hearing that the especially the straight white males are some sort of a devil, and that we are, that's locker room talk, that's boys will be boys, yeah, but all of y'all are fucking nasty. You know what I mean? Maybe not in the right circles at the right times, but all of y'all motherfuckers are disgusting. Yeah. And I mean that with love in my heart.
Well, and I don't want to say all of us, because I know women who are not.
But are they just being dishonest? Are they just being dishonest with themselves?
No,
Come on.
I don't think so.
Or maybe they haven't met the right dude.
Some women are asexual, but some men are asexual too. That's real.
Okay.
So,
are you saying that the men in your experience who have had less of a sex drive, are you saying that those are the guys who you think are more asexual?
No. If you're asexual, you would never end up with me. Nah.
Maybe that Indian guy. Maybe those are.
Raj.
I don't feel like I know what asexual is. I know it's controversial. I just don't. Definitely not with dudes. So it's an amazing thing how dishonesty and fear can shape our lives. You know that from your experience, and I know that from my experience. Otherwise, how could I have been so fat for so long? But dishonesty and fear really shapes our lives in an incredible way, and we can use dishonesty and fear, and especially fear, because actually fear is just the main thing, because you're only dishonest to yourself or to anybody else because of the fear. Fear is an incredible thing to the point where people can join other groups and then behead other people because of it. People can do all kinds of incredible, amazing, tragic things and believe that they're telling themselves the truth because of fear. People will kill themselves after putting on beautiful Nikes and drink fucking Kool-Aid to join a comet because of fear. Right. Fear is an incredible motivator.
But I'm also not self-centered enough to think that everybody is like I am.
Sure.
Because they're not.
I'm not saying that everybody's... I mean, you're on an incredible spectrum here, okay? Let's be real.
Thanks. You're someone really
you're talking
needs
about...
to eat your brother's ass. Right.
Jesus Christ. That serves me right. It serves me right for talking about the things that I've talked about on this podcast.
Because he would like it, damn it.
I'm sure he would. It wasn't, I mean, I tried it. It wasn't, I'm like, okay, it was fun, but it's not like a thing. It's not.
And some guys, it's the look on their face, like it's the most beautiful thing that has ever happened to them.
But are you talking fingers too? Because I feel like that would be, once you milk prostate, then we're talking about a whole new ball game.
That is a whole new ball game. Some guys just love their ass tongued. Okay. Some guys like fingers too. Whatever. I'm happy to provide. Right.
You should just rent a booth at Comic-Con and just.
See, that's the thing, is I really want to pick the people that I want to have sex with.
This is an interesting thing. Are you turned on by the idea of anonymity when it comes to sex?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so then what are you talking about? You would like to pick and choose. If you're being used, different. You're being used. You can't you can't protest.
Oh my god.
Once you sign up to be used, you're being fucking used.
That public disgrace was one of my favorite.
Absolutely. I've talked about it on this fucking podcast. Public disgrace is the best.
I love it. And part of it is, they've got some beautiful woman, and they're just letting all these men grope her.
Right.
Oh my god, that's delicious. Especially if they're gross or, something,
Really?
Yeah, there's something to it. Like, oh, that guy would never have a shot at her.
Right.
She's got perfect tits. I'm always impressed by, these
Yeah,
beautiful women.
Absolutely.
And then... And then these guys who would never,
Right.
and then they're telling her to jack them off and stuff. I'm like,
right.
I love that shit.
Bunch
But
of
that's
good
different.
goddamn girls.
That's different.
What do you
though.
mean that's
because
different?
I'd be doing that for somebody I wanted to be with. Oh, don't roll your eyes.
Have you?
at
Okay,
me.
let's detach a little bit. You've been to sex parties, haven't you? Have it always been? Has it always been with somebody else?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever? No. Shh. What I'm saying is, have you ever had a sex party experience where it didn't matter? You didn't go with somebody. Did you go with a girlfriend? Did you go to an orgy by yourself?
No.
Did you?
I'm so afraid to do stuff like that by myself. I really need to go with somebody I trust, feeling protected by them.
Oh, okay.
I need to. That's a need. I can't go by myself.
Okay. But
I
if
mean,
it's
I
with
like
somebody,
the idea of it, but I can't.
Okay. Now you like the idea of it. So this is what I'm saying. Because ultimately, no matter what happens in this conversation, I'm correct at all times.
Of course.
But what I'm saying is, say you're with somebody who's safe, who would protect you. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing it for them, right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, there's a payoff for me. Yes.
In what? What do you mean?
Well,
But what I'm saying, say you're with somebody who keeps you safe.
so let's say
you
somebody
go to the
lines up
sex party.
Somebody lines up a gangbang for me, right? But I know he's standing there. It's turning him on, and I know he's going to keep me safe.
What if it's a big motherfucking strong gay guy who you went with, who's watching over to protect you while he's getting his own dick sucked over here on the side?
No.
Okay. All right. So it's not just the protection angle. You're not turned on necessarily by the idea of the anonymity itself.
No, but I do love. I mean, I watch way too much porn, but
Yeah.
Porn with people in masks, right? Never seeing their face.
Okay.
Just that I like that.
I mean, obviously, I'm not saying everything I watch in porn is something I'm actually into.
Exactly. Like the chicks in the rooms where they're just lined up and the guys are lined up to fuck them and they're yeah.
That's another thing.
They can't see who's
Kink.com
fucking
does,
them.
where like fucking just tie a girl over over a box or something and just have any dude just come in and.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Now that may be the porn, but it's not actually something you might actually be interested in. Okay. All right.
I'm definitely not about having sex with a lot of people.
Okay.
I would rather have regular people.
Okay. Meaning, what do you mean?
I just don't need any more notches, you know? I'm
At this point, it's like the fucking tooth of a comb. There's no fucking, it's bristles in a brush. We're not talking about notches anymore, baby. Okay. Now that's an interesting idea. What was the thing you just said? You said you're more interested. So you've been content. This is another difference I find between females and males. And again, there's exceptions. But when it comes to females, it seems like y'all are more interested in lots of sex with one, like lots of good sex with one over, like for me, I want to fuck everything once. And then whatever I like out of that, then I'll keep that around and keep going. But like,
I think that's nature.
Right.
And then we like older and stable, right? And men like younger and fertile. Right. That's just nature. That's just not that we won't fuck younger or you won't fuck older. But
No.
not that, there's lots of,
I've been on the spectrum. Yeah, I've been on the spectrum. I think the oldest I've been with so far, wait, didn't I? It was 49. Youngest was 18, from what I can remember.
I remember when I was 20, being with somebody who was close to 50, and I remember being like, his skin had lost its elasticity, and that kind of grossed me out.
Okay.
It wasn't the fact that he was 30 years older than me.
Right.
Oh, that feels old.
So what about an older man makes you feel good?
There's just a stability. There's an emotional maturity, right? They don't get bothered by a lot.
They don't get obsessed.
They don't get obsessed. There's no drama. They don't have time for bullshit. All of that is beautiful. Yeah.
And little salt and pepper doesn't. Okay.
A silver fox, I'm in.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, it's 4:45.
Yeah, I should go.
Yeah, we should start wrapping up. This has been a good episode. We talked for an hour and 39 minutes so far. Congratulations. I mean, you've ruined the episode, obviously.
I know.
Nobody likes you at all.
I feel bad. People are going to have to hear my voice because I sound like my mother. Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Well, none of us know that, but, all right, cool. Well, I'll do my plugs. Go to patreon.com/conservatish. Email me if you want. Well, actually, I only answer questions to people who do $20 or more on patreon.com/conservatish. But
unless it's a chick who's... Yeah, okay.
You mean if it is who's soliciting for me for sex? I'm not cheap. All right, you minimum have to pay me $5 for me to fuck you. Also, go to iTunes and give me a review on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever the fuck, and share it with your friends. Obviously, this episode, since we started out talking about sucking cock, and there's just been a river of cock throughout this whole episode.
Just your grown-up friends.
I was like, I got to tell people beforehand, like, hey, this is not going to be, I mean, every episode, we either eating ass or I scream fuck. It's not a work episode anyway, but this one's a heavy.
18 and over.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Somebody, I think is what we're calling
you.
For coming on. And good girl.
Oh, thank you.
Bye, everybody.